Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 12/12/2023 Mother Mary Monthly Message. My name is Samarah, and I'm just delighted to have you join with me and hear the words and wisdom of Mother Mary as she shares with us a little bit about how to live in the world today and how to keep joy in our hearts, and of course, how to celebrate this season, whatever background you have, whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or just being alive, it is the season. And of course, we're also here at the end of the year. 2023 has been crazy, chaotic, challenging for many, many people. And I know lots of us are wondering, what's 2024 going to bring? So I've been sort of poking at Mother Mary, asking her to give us any, insights or advice or thoughts about what might be coming up in 2024. But as her loving channel, I never know for sure what she's going to say. I just get in the back of the seat, back in the car, as if she's driving and I get in the back seat so she can drive. And then she speaks about whatever she finds most relevant for the people who are tuned in to her and to this broadcast. So without further ado, thank you for listening. And let me bring in Mother Mary to hopefully bring us some cheer and maybe even some advice. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining, whether it's here on 12/12 or later on that you're tuning into the broadcast. I wish I had only good news. I really do. I really do. But the news I have, I think, can be comforting, even though it's challenging, because it's all about courage. And I know all of you already have courage because you're listening to me. And in a world where there's a lot of other kinds of noises and things going on, perhaps that is challenging. So what do I mean by courage? I think the way that I'd like to phrase it for you is that from this moment forward, I mean it, this moment, whether you're listening to it right now or at another point in time, whenever you're faced with a decision or a choice or an action that you're about to take, I want you to take one extra moment and say to yourself, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? And Jesus really was the master of love and compassion, but also right action. I know you've read the story about going into the temple where the moneylenders were really desecrating and defacing what was meant to be a place of worship and love. And he threw them out. So he wasn't a man only of, compassion and love. He was also a person of right action. And so if you ask yourself the question, what would Jesus do? Maybe sometimes it is a loving response. Maybe it is, making a donation to the Red Cross or bringing some blankets or a basket of food or whatever. Absolutely. But along with that, in a world right now where there is so much disharmony and so many people saying things that aren't true, can you be the voice of love? Can you be the voice of, wait a minute, that isn't what I understand? Now, again, in other broadcasts, I've told you, I don't want you to ever put yourselves in danger. I don't mean that. But when you're talking with people who are allowing these fragments, who are allowing this vitriol, this blame, this terrible kinds of conversations, can you be the voice of wisdom? And again, choose carefully. I'm not saying, go over to the mall and stand on a soapbox and preach to people unless you feel called to do that. But what I'm saying is, how can we establish the voice of reason, the voice of compassion, the voice of love in the midst of all that vitriol? To be quiet is one thing. To be silent is another thing. To be the voice of what Jesus might have said is the courageous challenge that I'm offering to all of you. What would Jesus do? What would Jesus say? And you might think, well, I'm not Jesus. And of course you're not. But all of you carry the seed of the Christ light that he brought to all of you. You all have that seed. No one was left out. And so if you come into this place of inner wisdom and inner quiet, and just ask yourself, what would Jesus do? All of you can find that inner voice giving you some suggestions or advice to go ahead. You can drive yourself down to any number of shelters, any number of wonderful organizations that are doing miraculous work in this world. And you can simply go in and say, how can I help? How could I help? What do you need? And I know you're all busy. I know you all have lots and lots of things that you are already committed to. But what would Jesus do? He would at least try to go during this season of loving and giving possibilities and just ask them, what do you need? Because there are so many people really poised in fear and in overwhelm that if you became a catalyst who said, you know, I was down at the shelter and they're very low on turkeys. I don't know, whatever it would be, right? And so you get on your social media and you say, I'm collecting turkeys for the shelter. I'll drive to your house if you'll, get some turkeys and I'm going to pick them all up. And then you post some pictures of you delivering the turkeys, to the shelter. Why? Well, first of all, of course, they'll appreciate them. But you're joining with neighbors, you're joining with friends in right action. And for some of you, it's about don't sit on the sidelines anymore, just waiting to see if there's some illuminating thought about how to build an orphanage in India or something. No. What would Jesus do? He would look around and say, where could I be of help? What do people need? And each action that you take in that behalf shifts the energy into the power of love. The power of love. So it's so easy in a way to not get engaged in the world when it's so chaotic. And again, I will say it again, don't do things that are dangerous for you. I'm not requesting that. But do the things that are loving for you. Do that, absolutely. This time that you're in the end of 2023, is all about the rise of mindless power. Mindless power. Destructive, mindless power. Now, certainly you can be overwhelmed by that. In the time of Jesus, it was, the Roman soldiers and all of that. You can be overwhelmed by that. And again, I'm not asking you to go up against the government or to, go to City Hall and all of that unless you feel guided to do that. The governments as they exist right now are lost. They are lost. They have no direction because the direction comes from the people. It comes from all of you. It does. So it's about recognizing that rise in mindless power, in order to diffuse that, has to be met by love in action. And the voices of compassion, reason, and hope. So what would Jesus do? If you ask yourself that question and begin to look around your neighborhood, your city, your family, what would Jesus do? He would find the path of love. He would find the path of greatest compassion and fill the gap in that situation to the best of his ability. Because in order to disseminate love in the midst of all of that craziness, you have to have your own centering power and your own voice that says basically, what would Jesus do? Or Buddha or Mohammed, whoever's your favorite. I don't want to only say Jesus. But when you do that, it's like, oh, okay. I don't have to wait to be the mayor or the head of the city council or this or that. I don't. You are already carrying the seed of light. You are already the emissaries of light. So it's really a question of just focusing your attention on whatever is coming up for you that is saying, help, please help me do this. Then, whatever you're guided to do, enroll and enlist your friends and neighbors. Now, during the holiday season, it's wonderful. People are bringing cookies and casseroles, and that's great. That's great. But if you can activate a higher vibration, which says, here's your cookies, but by the way, I'm collecting turkeys for, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What starts to happen is that the neighbors realize, well, I could get a turkey and, make that available and send it on. I can do that. And in this world of inaction, anger, and upset, you can be the catalyst to begin to bring people together, to do things that are wonderful, compassionate, loving, etc. Adopt a family. What do I mean by that? Almost every organization in your community or church, etc., has a list of people who are in need. All you have to do is ask. Is there a family? Is there a person in your congregation that I could help? And then do it. And again, if it's too long a list, then you reach out to your friends and neighbors and say, I'm doing my best to adopt this family, but I don't have all the resources that I would like to fill their wish list. Would you like to help? It takes courage and a bit of humility to put yourself in these situations. But what it will do is it will remind you of your light, and that the purpose of your life is to take your light and shine it, especially where there's a dimness at that moment. You cannot help everyone. You cannot solve all the problems in the world. But I promise you, if you simply look around your community and just ask, what could I do? There's no shortage. And when you move in that direction, I was saying I wanted only good news, but what's happening is that the mindless, power-hungry Pac-Men, they're eating up our spirit. They're eating up the spirit of love and compassion in the world, because that's how they maintain their hold. You have to see that. You have to see that the way that they maintain their hold is to make everyone retreat and hide and cover their eyes and ears and not want to look at them or deal with it. And again, I'll say it again, I don't want you to go up against that sort of mindless power. What will shift everything is the power of love and right action. But all of you must begin to do whatever is in your heart and in your means to do. It is an extraordinary gift to be able to see yourself as one of the millions of light-hearted beings like yourselves that want compassion and love and honor and friendship and, you know, everyone to have a good life. And so how do we get there? We get there by each and every one of you just asking the question, what would Jesus do? He would love. He would see where someone had been dismissed, subjugated, defamed, and he would love them. And this is what is in my heart for all of you, that 2024 can be your best year yet. I promise you, your best year yet. Because when you take on the mantle of emissary of light, when you follow, and again, if it's not Jesus for you, if it's another being, that's fine. But when you follow the path of love, your life is full of love because you will receive tenfold what you're giving in the appreciation and in the connection that you will feel with all of those that you enroll to help you fulfill the wish list, you know, of some family that you've decided to bless. Words are not enough. You know, our dear Mother Teresa said, prayer without action is no prayer at all. And of course, if you watch her life, you know, you can see where that took her. But that's her life. But she always was talking to Jesus. So look around. And if you feel what I'm saying in your heart, commit your heart, your mind, and your body to do what Jesus would do. He would love. And he would speak out against injustice. And he would find ways to lift people up. So that's the charge. As this year ends, as you will see, there is a gripping going on in terms of the mindless power Pac-Men. But that's what's being televised right now in households all around your world. There are people praying, yes. There are people acting in love toward a better community. There are people helping each other in every way that they can. And that's the ticket for 2024. Be the presence of light you came to be. Be the presence of light you came to be. You don't have to have a position. You don't have to have a diploma. You don't have to be given an authority. You are the authority. You are. And what I mean by that, you are the author of it, authority. And so all you have to do is just make that decision and commitment that from now on, I will walk the path of light. And what that means is I must show up as a light. I must offer my light and blankets and food and whatever else, you know, is within your capacity to offer. And when you do that, what you're going to find is that the community that you connect with and support is absolutely the antidote for mindless power. So you are part of the solution, as so many people put it. You're part of the solution. And so don't wait, create. Don't wait, create. Be that light. Because in all of your lives right now, yes, there are things to do and groceries to buy and weddings to go to and all of that. And that's wonderful. But if you, when you're getting dressed in the morning, whether it's to go to a wedding or the grocery store, if you add into your own mind and heart, I am the presence of light I came to be. What you've done is shift your everyday mind. I don't want to forget to buy the mushrooms and the whatever, right? Your everyday mind at the grocery store. You shift from that as your way of seeing into your God mind, your third eye, if you will. You start to see the patterns of energy that need to be harmonized or corrected. I promise you, it's how it happens, because you've identified with the light. I am the presence of light I came to be. So now there you are in the grocery store and you decide, oh, I think I need to just stop this person for a moment and compliment them on their sweater, whatever. What is that? It is a penetration of that mindless lock that people get trapped in. And it says, oh, what a beautiful sweater you have on. Huh, someone saw me. And when I say someone saw me, it is seeing them, seeing their light, seeing their truth, seeing who they really are. And that is what can awaken them from that kind of mindless stupor that people get into when there's just nothing but negative energy bouncing about. So this is the season to choose. They talk about the reason for the season. It's to be the presence and the present, to be the gift you came to be. And throughout this coming year, you will watch sort of the rise and fall of those two sides I was talking about. But the more you engage in the service of light, doing actual things like smiling and bringing turkeys or whatever it is, what you're doing is you are actually strengthening the matrix, the grid, if you will, that power of light that is on your planet. So you'll feel better. Your friends and neighbors that join you will feel better. Whoever you're blessing with your compliments or food or whatever will feel better. And the grip of the mindless power will not hold them hostage. You all have a great deal of freedom. You already have a great deal of courage. Now it's the commitment to be the presence of light you came to be, and to put that into action, however that shows up for you. Because if you're neutral, you're not helping. You're not hurting, but you're not helping. And so it's really about standing up for what you believe in and taking the actions that make you proud of yourselves and your lives. And so I just want to end our 12-12 broadcast with this request. Be the presence of light you came to be. Powerful, radiant, life-changing. And where you offer your light, don't worry. Don't think, oh, what project should I do? Or no. Wake up, brush your teeth, get dressed, and just affirm that commitment. I am the presence of light I came to be. God and spirit and your angels and guides, they'll deliver the audience. They will. They will. It's not about worrying. It's about consecrating the commitment you have to love. Loving yourself, loving each other, loving this earth, loving your animals and friends. But most of all, being that difference, that small difference that changes someone from the grip of the mind-bending, mindless group into hope, possibilities, compassion, and love. So I will sign off in just a moment, but I offer you a blessing. Be the presence of light you came to be. Much love. Namaste.